Okay, so I saw this on Twitter. It says, who is one band or artist you feel is completely underrated? So I definitely have to go with fionaapple. Every single time I'm sharing with friends and people like who are my favorite artists of all time, I always bring her up and they're like, who is that? And then I have to go on an entire tangent explaining her career and why I like her and all those kind of things because, she's not really that popular. And so essentially she has one hit in the 90s, which was Criminal. And then basically after that, like just her interviews and stuff like that, the media completely misinterpreted her and she just didn't like how that went. So she decided to be a little bit more low key after that. I think she could be more popular if she wanted to be, but I really respect the way that she goes. She releases her music, she's unproblematic, she stands up for things that are very important. So I really appreciate her in that aspect. She only releases the album like every 8 years. She doesn't do interviews that often. She's not on social media, anything like that. She really is all about the art. And so, what I really like about fionaapple and what sets her apart, in my opinion, is I really do like her voice, and I think that she is a phenomenal songwriter. I think that she writes really personal songs, and they're very raw and vulnerable and just real. And she's not afraid to talk about very personal topics to her and just in the world at large. And I feel like she thinks very differently than a lot of people, and she's not really afraid to share that. I think her vocabulary is outstanding. I love her vocal delivery. She's not afraid to have songs that are going to be off kilter in terms of the vocal delivery, the instrumentation, or just, do things that are out of the box. And I really appreciate her for that. She just really approaches songs in a very unique way. So I think in terms of songwriting, she's one of my favorite songwriters of all time. And I feel like she paved the way for, a lot of the alternative girls. And she doesn't ever get the credit that she deserves because everyone want to call Lana Del Rey the queen of alternative. No shade to Lana Del Rey. She has paved the way for people like Billie Eilish and the new generation. I'm not trying to deny her that. But I mean, fionaapple, let's bring her up in the conversation a little bit more. That's all I'm saying because I think that she is that talented at what she does. Yeah, I just feel like I listen to her music and it just like I'm understood for a minute, even though I can't relate to like most of the stuff that she's saying, but just like the raw conviction in her vocal delivery, and you can just hear everything that she's really trying to convey in it, with the pain, with the joy in her voice, like everything that you've ever been through, she pretty much has you covered. And if you haven't been through it, you can understand her experience in the way that she's telling it, in the way that she's threading the story together. And I feel like she's just really smart overall in the way that she puts songs together, and she's very complex. So that's the songwriting portion of it. She's also a phenomenal piano player, especially in songs like Shamika. Like that is just absolutely insane to listen to everything that she's doing there, and a bunch of other songs. A lot of her songs are based on piano because she's fantastic at that. But she also has some percussion in there as well, and yeah, really great catalog. By the way, I feel like she doesn't have a bad album. If you want to listen to an album by her, I would say start off with this one, When the Pawn. It's her most commercially accessible album, and you can kind of get a feel if you like what she does or not. My favorite songs in this: Paperback, Fast as You Can, and A Mistake. I really like the rest of her discography as well. As I mentioned, my favorite album is Fetch the Bolt Cutters, which I feel like everyone kind of agrees for the most part it's her best album besides this one. And then Extraordinary Machine is very underrated. I will say that. Either Will, of course, is a classic, but yeah, fionaapple, phenomenal in my opinion. I think Mariah Carey is underrated in terms of her songwriting. A lot of people don't know that she writes her songs. She wrote Fantasy, All I Want for Christmas Is You, 19 number one hits, and she wrote 18 of them. And people don't know that. She wrote Always Be My Baby. Mind you, she also directed the music video for that in Fantasy, and a lot of people don't know about that. So that's something that I always have to share, Mariah, the songwriter. So I think in terms of her songwriting, she's very underrated. And then you also have to talk about album cuts like Looking In, Petals, Portrait, and Underneath the Stars, which was released as a single, but it didn't get the promotion it deserved because of Columbia. Then 4th of July is definitely one of my favorites. I love 8th Grade, and I can go on and on and on. I think that she's a very smart songwriter. I love her vocabulary. I love how personal that her music is, the way that she fits words together, really brilliant. So in terms of songwriting, that's why I would say that she's underrated. I feel like a lot more people should tap into her discography though. I think that she has a lot of gems for sure. And I would say you start off with Daydream if you want something to listen to, but you can also start off at the beginning like I did, because it's really nice to see how she evolves as a singer, as a songwriter, as a producer. But yes, one of the best singers of all time. We know that. I'll give her flowers for that. But a lot of people don't talk about Mariah Carey, the songwriter. As for someone who's really underrated right now, I would definitely say Flo Milli, and I'm glad that she's getting a little bit more praise with her new song Never Lose Me, and that it's doing so well in the charts. I saw in concert, she was phenomenal, by the way. And so yeah, I've really loved her ever since I first heard Be Flo Mix, and then that whole mixtape, Why You Hear, flawless, no skips. I love her voice, I love her cadence, I love her songwriting. She is phenomenal, and I hope to see bigger things happen for her in the future. But that is going to be my thoughts on some artists I feel like are very underrated. So let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Who do you think is underrated? Let's continue that conversation.